Hi, this is Gavin Kierstead, just showing off my Killing Floor 2 level. So I guess I should start off. I don't have the pathing nodes for the spawning of hordes and zombies or Zeds or whatever they're called. That's not put in place yet. It is currently just at the stage of the basic blockout using the modular assets with a couple of the ones that I felt fit, such as the police car and truck and whatnot. But as well as just basic lighting and basic props placed. So no trading posts and no pathing nodes placed. But yep, it starts. So the idea of the premise was behind it was a German town. I think I did Blood-Baden was my play on words with it kind of taking place in Baden-Baden, which not actually, but. So I'm planning on eventually replacing these with, I think it's either Manor or Black Forest or Burning Paris that has kind of the Tudor style exteriors for some of the houses or in buildings. So I plan on taking some of those and filling out these, and finding some different light sources. I'm not super happy with these ones, but they work for now. And finding a bunch of different props and stuff that I'll place after I get the full nodes for pathing and traders placed, so I can do play tests and see if my structure's solid. But yeah, so it starts off here with like a police car crashed into that, the fire truck leaking water and stuff like that. But otherwise, I eventually plan on, I think you can probably do like a skybox, I imagine, or like an HDRI. Either of those would work, and maybe filling out with more cars and stuff. But I wasn't putting too much emphasis on this just because it might not be final. Further down here, some of my design choices were for visibility lines right in the beginning. So, coming from right from the start, you can see this opening with the light source at the end, kind of leading you to look down there, with the awning and the parasols or the umbrella with the kind of cafe looking things, or cafe looking tables and stuff. So that's down there, and then otherwise they might see the light sources from these windows inside of this house. And further down there, they see a long pathway. So in here is one of my first mini narratives. So this is actually a bug. This one, where the decal is bleeding through the floor, I think because the decal box or whatever they use to project is going through the floor ever so slightly, so it projects onto just multiple surfaces. I don't necessarily mind it though, because this actually it helps for the narrative of the blood leaking through the floor, through the carpet and through the floorboards or whatever, to kind of drip down, kind of leads the player upstairs maybe or something like that, or just adds a little more gore to the scene. But so it's just a person's house inside of here, and just go upstairs. There's a couple ways to get out. So there's a window in this room, and right there, as well as this very large window. These types of windows, you take about 2 damage, so pretty negligible. And then these ones, you can just walk out. You might be able to just walk out of those if you land on the windowsill, but nonetheless, it's negligible whether you do take damage or not. But with that though, the player can come over here, not necessarily get tracked, and possibly even treat it as a kind of a horde gathering area. So, but my mini narrative is right here. So it's a sad story of a family who got trapped inside of here. They were inside watching television, and the Zeds trapped them inside their own house, and they hid inside the closet with the door getting knocked in, and eventually killing them. So kind of a rather tragic story, which I imagine is the theme of this game since it's a bunch of zombies. But so down here though, so the player can jump down, not taking any damage from that one. Down here, the player will see cafes and stops. Shops. This is kind of like a mall area, which I think is actually going to be the location of probably a trading post. It's a little laggy in here, so I might need to work on some of the lighting. But I think there's going to be a trading post probably, I don't know, maybe even in one of these spots, probably like in this corner or in that corner. But there are kind of like kiosks and mini shops inside of here. But my other mini narrative is upstairs. Oh, and I left the railings off these on purpose so that the player can kind of treat this as, especially with the trader posts in here, if they get caught up with a horde behind them, they can funnel in, treat it as a choke point, and possibly drop down if they have to, so they won't get trapped up here. Hopefully, because there's a window there, as well as my mini narratives quote unquote window of just the wall being blown out, as well as coming down here to be able to go through the doors down below. But so they shouldn't be able to get trapped up here. The mini narrative, though, is that the bakery in this kind of blew up during the Z outbreak and leaving this entire hole in the wall. Not sure if there's a actual piece for a broken wall. I doubt there is, but what I'll probably do is place some rubble and maybe like a column or something like that to treat or to display to the character or the player that there is this thing was broken out, and they'll look up there and they'll see that there's a way out, and possibly a reason for coming up here, something interesting. But jumping down again, they don't take damage. There is this direction as well as that way. That way is towards the bridge. Go this way first. So in this area, and I wanted to keep the direct sight lines, so I kept it pretty grid based. Didn't really do many. I don't think I did any 45-degree angles in here, but I like it because of the sight lines that you can keep. Didn't do too many turns. But yeah, so down there is the way that we were able to see from the more or less the beginning. But inside of here, I haven't figured out destructible lights yet. I'm planning on bringing that up in class, but I want these to basically all be destructible, so this place can be complete pitch black if you use grenades or just shoot them out. Trying to keep them a little high. Might want to raise them actually a little higher now that I'm thinking about it, but and also I might add a couple more since it is already fairly dark. And I feel like maybe some non-destructible, like really dim light sources towards the top, but maybe like flickering or something like that. But yeah, I want them to be destructible so that the player can really treat this as a choke point. They're probably going to be spawning from this area as well as this area, depending on where the hordes are coming from. Sewer grates and whatnot. But the player can probably see all three doors and kind of strafing back and forth and treat this as a choke point. So if they do too much, they won't be able to see too well. So I kind of want that little bit of a balance. But coming to this is the church. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably make it higher. I had a bug to where it kept on crashing when I wanted to play, so I didn't get to test this too much. I just got it working again, so seeing this in-game, this should be a little taller. So I might raise the roof a little bit. But the mini narrative on this was that, that's a little bit of Z fighting, there's not a whole lot of corpses elsewhere, because when the Zeds broke out, everybody kind of came to the church to try and remain safe, but it didn't work, as the gore can tell. So there's a large amount of gore inside of here, inside the church, towards the other end as well. But then the people who were locked out of here, it's the thing. Do you open the door to let people in, but possibly risk your own safety, or do you leave them out there to die? Turns out they left them out to die. So there's dead bodies out here and stuff. Over here is just the way to loop out. I might consider putting a trading post around here as well. Maybe inside the church with like a back door to it, because right now it's only one entrance, so the player could probably get stuck in there with a trading post. Don't really want that, but this area just leads back to the main area where we first started, as well as looping back here. I initially planned a barricade here. I'm not completely sure whether I want it or not still. And I'm considering it, just so if you come this way, you're kind of committed to it. You have to go to the church if you get trapped with a bunch of Zeds here. Otherwise, it leaves a little bit more open. I feel like it might be too open, so the player never really gets caught. There should be a little bit of a dead end sometimes. But coming down this way, this is towards the bridge. I'm thinking I'm needing some more lights around as well, but especially on this area to the left, I'm noticing. But coming this way, there's going to be, I think, piled up cars on either side. Currently, it's just the barricades, but I'm not completely sure whether this will work out or not, just because I have all these lights. They're just more or less temporary. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this to look like a bridge. If I can, I think it'll be fine. Otherwise, I might have to scrap it and then just put, possibly even just not do this area, or kind of put another plaza or something like that around here. Maybe a little like alleyway street kind of stuff like that. But down this way, I was kind of wanting it to be a place where the player could really funnel up the Zeds, but possibly get trapped. So I might leave this open so it's not like a complete death trap once you get into this corner. So they can kind of weave through these areas, but really funnel them in. It's a matter of trying to get that to, through playtested. I haven't done any yet. But this will be an area where I want to focus a lot of playtesting to see if I can actually get it to work. But I want them to kind of possibly spawn through these sewer grate manholes, as well as coming out of the barricades on the ends over here. If I get this to look like a bridge, they might crawl up from underneath or something like that. But yeah. So I think that about wraps it up.